Could be anywhere in America's so-called Rustbelt at the moment, but I'm not. I'm in Australia, and this is a city called Launceston. Like so many cities though, it started because it provided a port for the meeting of boats and trains. When the trains came along this line, which is just off to the left, I'm riding along a levee bank at the moment. The land that's off to the left of me is basically used for storing building materials and other very low rent functions. And this could be any city. The city I've moved from, Newcastle, also in Australia, has got this situation. Cities I've been to in America, even some of the more developed ones, have got this situation. The land I'm looking at off to the left is right next to the city. I mean, 200 metres from what you'd call CBD. And this lady is kindly stepping out of the way. Thank you. And the land we're looking at there, my goodness, its capacity for housing and commercial functions and even some manufacturing, which there's very little in these economies these days anyway, the potential is huge. So what I'm saying is that all of these cities should look at these sorts of sites that I'm on at the moment as potential bicycle trails. Build a bicycle trail and let the developers build lots of housing with limited parking, and instantly you've kick-started bicycle transport in that city. 2 hands for this bit. I think I'm okay. 1 hand was enough. In one respect, this is a bicycle trail at the moment, but because that land over there is not oriented to this bicycle transport network, it gets viewed as a recreational trail, which is a problem, because as soon as you call something a recreational trail, well then it doesn't matter, does it? It's just a luxury for Sundays. If it were classified transport infrastructure and we're allowed to have the same impact on the surrounding development sites as any other sort of transport infrastructure would, you wouldn't get situations like this where parts of it are just turned into pedestrian only. A perfectly good bridge there that would be strong enough to carry light traffic, cyclists and pedestrians, is let to go to waste. A beautiful piece of walking infrastructure there is just cut off at the moment because, look, footpath closed. We're doing some work, so what's it matter? This whole route around the back here, which people use for walking and transport, has just been cut off indefinitely while they do some work. You don't do that to roads, do you? Or to trains, but it's acceptable once you classify something as recreational infrastructure. All of these sites here turn their back on the transport, what I'm calling transport infrastructure, and instead turn their front doors to a giant car park over the front over here. Now it's that back entrance of those buildings that I'm really interested in. The back face of it could be the front face onto an active transport network. Over here, this is about to become student housing because the land I'm on at the moment is largely, well, it's basically a university campus these days. Gee, that, you know, and still they'll look at that student housing and think, right, where do they park their cars, rather than where do they ride their bikes. When you come to that question, where do you ride your bikes, it's quite barbarous really, and a real indictment on a university that advertises itself as sustainable, that this rail trail I'm about to take you down is viewed as bike infrastructure, but if you can see, I'm a moving target right now. I feel like a duck at the shooting ring at the sideshow. Every car, this is a public holiday today, but on a weekday you've got cars whizzing around this circular car park and not looking out for cyclists at all. It's unbelievable, and I'm really surprised that no one's been killed along here yet. They've got these tracks in the ground which really do cause a hazard. The tracks have no real function these days. They're just for an historic train which puts along every now and then with no passengers. Now this one here's the worst though. Cars come along this road, and let's just put ourselves in the position of a car for a moment. The give way sign is blocked by the tree and the other signage here, and so cars just go straight ahead and don't look for cyclists that could be coming along here. So driving is given precedence. This is an award-winning building over here that I work in. It has fantastic green credentials. People sacrifice a little bit of comfort for the sake of the environmental impact of the building, but the building has no environmentally sound transport strategy. It has what they call a very high transport energy intensity because it's predicated on this car park. That's how people get here. Of course, a lot of people cycle here, and including myself, but they do so, the cars travel in 5-star safety, the cyclists travel in third world safety conditions. So that's my little rant. I'm really interested in these sorts of sites, as you can imagine, as you can see. Former industrial sites that, I guess, stage one in their revitalisation, they're using them for entertainment facilities and education facilities. Stage two is really making them part of a broader bicycling network and filling them up with cyclists. See ya.